locally. This makes Wyoming Corporate Office the state's largest business-to-business service provider, located right here in Sheridan, Wyoming. If you're drowning in corporate paperwork looking for someone with an unmatched experience that cares and wants to be your partner in making your business successful, trust that Wyoming Corporate Office can help you focus on what makes your business tick. Learn more today by visiting WyomingCorporateOffice.com.
This is Public Pulse, your information and conversation program, brought to you by First Federal Bank and Trust. You can voice your opinion by calling 672-KROE. That's 672-5763. Now, your host for Public Pulse, Floyd Whiting.
Morning and welcome to Public Pulse. Now, they are a haven for all animals, great and small, keeping strays safe until they're returned home. The Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter is the first place you start a search should you lose your furry family member. Joining me this morning is Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter Operations Manager Cindy Popp and Dog Lead Emmy Whiting. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Now, first off, for those streaming, they can see that we are joined by a little friend. Who do we have here?
This is Rose. She is, we're thinking maybe like a rat terrier, chihuahua mix of some sort. She's about 25 pounds or so on the smaller end. And then she is 9 years old, so technically a senior.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
How long will a dog like that usually live?
So when they're smaller size, they just live longer. It's hard to say an exact age, but I mean, Great Danes, their oldest is usually about 7, whereas a smaller dog, I mean, I've seen live late into their teens.
Oh, yeah, 20s. Even.
Yeah.
I've heard of 20s.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the smaller, the longer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a way.
Somehow.
Yeah.
My father used to own a dog that looked very much like her. His name was Bandit, and he was a little more tan, and he kind of went everywhere with my dad. What's her temperament like?
So even though she is a senior, she's definitely got a lot of energy left to her as she kisses me.
Yeah.
She loves to play outside. She enjoys cats a lot, which I just learned this morning because I brought her up front and she was sniffing one of the cats and wanting to play, but the cat did not want to play.
So she's more like a want to play with cats, not want to chase the cat type of deal.
Definitely gentle.
Yeah.
Very gentle.
Now, that's really important when you go to look for a new animal, learning their temperament and if they're going to be good with cats or even other dogs. We get a lot of different dogs that don't really get along with other ones, do they?
Mm-hmm. We get quite a few of those, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like a typical thing.
A lot of the reason that some people surrender is because they start not getting along with their other dogs or they just can't deal with it. They want to take them to dog parks and they don't get along with other dogs.
Yeah. Now, she's available for adoption.
Yes.
And what else do we know about her background? Was she a surrender?
So she was a surrender. She came from a household that had 2 other large dogs. And I guess they were a lot younger. And I guess that one of them was bullying her. So she didn't really necessarily love that. And they didn't love that. So she came to us.
And 9 years old and just surrendered. Now, I was looking at some of the numbers that you gave me, Cindy. And if I was reading that correctly, the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter took in 783 animals in 2022. Now, when you sent me those numbers, was that just dogs and cats, or was that pretty much like the guinea pigs?
That was everything.
That was everything.
Yep. So,
okay. That is a lot of animals.
Yes. 568 of those were strays that just got brought in either by our CSO officers, police officers, or public people that just picked them up off the street and brought them up. And then 15 of those were surrenders.
Wow, 215.
Yep.
Now, would you say that, 2020, 2021 probably saw the highest number of surrenders due to COVID?
Yeah, I would say so. 2021, we got 609 strays and 217 surrenders.
My goodness. That just seems like, I mean, Cindy, you grew up here, right?
Around.
Around. So, I mean, does that seem like a lot of animals to be turned in for a town of this size or a city of this size?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of does, but we have been growing, you know.
Yeah.
People have been coming in from all over, and it's hard to find housing here that allows pets, and I feel like people don't look into that a lot of the time ahead of time.
Yeah,
So,
until it's too late.
Until it's too late, and then they end up, you know, having to get into a house that doesn't allow their pets or having to move into a hotel.
Yeah.
For, you know, unfortunately, that's happened quite a few times, actually.
Yes.
We've taken surrenders this year that say, oh, you know, we can't find a house. We're having to move into a hotel in 2 weeks. You know, we need you to take our animal.
You know, it's probably something that you never thought you'd experience, but working at a shelter, you see a lot of the socioeconomic situation
You do.
in the city that you live, don't you?
It's kind of crazy because I went into the animal world because I don't always want to deal with people.
Right.
And I feel like that's all I do is we deal with a lot of the public.
Yeah, and some really tough situations.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine. Emmy has told me some stories
Yeah.
at home, some really, really sad stories
Yeah.
of people having to turn in their best friend because
Yeah.
they just don't have the funds to take care of them or they don't have a place to house them.
Yeah.
And that is so unfortunate. Now,
Which I would like to say, if you are having trouble feeding your animal, we do offer dog and cat food. With rodent food, it's a little bit different because we don't get a lot of that donated, but we do have
Donated
dog food and cat food to give out to people that are low income and can't.
oh, that's
care of
fantastic.
their
So if you're struggling, just come on up to the shelter and you guys will help feed my furry family.
Yes.
That's amazing. Now, out of the animals that were turned in, how many found homes, Cindy?
So in 2022, our adoptions were actually pretty high. We had 467 adoptions.
And that's a good number. That's
a pretty good number. That's up 33 animals from 2021. We had 434 animals adopted in 2021.
so. I mean, there is silver lining to this.
Yes.
A lot of these animals did find homes, and
Right.
and what's really odd is like the chickens and the guinea pigs and things like that. How long do those usually stick around for?
The guinea pigs stay for a very long time.
Yeah, you got to find the right parents for that one. don't you?
That's hard because they can get them at Petco.
Yeah.
What's crazy is we don't charge as much as Petco.
Yeah.
It's $10 for a small mammal. So
really?
guinea
Nice.
pigs, rabbits, any of the small mammals, our ferrets, $10.
Now, how often would you say that you get those type of critters?
The guinea pigs we get pretty often. I feel like people get them and think they're going to be an easy pet for their kids, and they're really not that easy to take care of, and they're kind of expensive
Yeah.
to take care of because they need fresh vegetables, they need fresh hay, their food is expensive, their bedding is expensive, they need cleaned out, and guinea pigs are really not super friendly unless you really work with them every day. They're not like a
cuddle animal.
unless you make them into a cuddle animal.
Yeah.
So you need to work with them every day and hold them every day. Otherwise, they're very skittish animals. They run and they hide, and then they're nocturnal normally. So they're very noisy at night. Kids don't like them in their bedroom because they make noise. They keep them from sleeping. So I feel like a lot of the time we get them surrendered because they think they're going to be an easy pet for the kid, and then it ends up a huge responsibility for the parent.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of turned, I got a very similar story. My daughter had 2 guinea pigs at one point, but since we live in Wyoming, believe it or not, I was able to take them outside, and I built them a pen outside, and we just kind of treated them like rabbits.
Yeah. Well, that's actually the best way for them to live.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They naturally live in the wild in New Guinea.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like little pack animals, and they like being outside, and they're pretty hardy, actually.
Yeah, these ones, they did pretty good out there. I can actually hear her kissing you over the microphone. That's pretty funny. A very loving animal.
Yeah, she loves kisses.
Now, when a dog is surrendered, or comes in as a stray, what's the in processing that these animals go through?
So, as a stray, when they first come in, we take a picture of them so we have it in our records. If they come in again, we'll be able to recognize them. We scan them for a microchip. Just, hopefully they're microchipped so we can find their owner quicker.
Yeah.
And then we set them up in a kennel with food, water, blanket, toys, all that. If they stay, usually, hopefully they don't.
Yes, hopefully they don't. But
If they are there longer than 5 days, we do take ownership and they get put through our medical process. So that is kind of the process there is we wait 5 days to find an owner and for someone to call, and we actively look on Facebook.
Yeah.
We look in our system if we recognize them and try to find the owner. But after 5 days, we need to move on with the process of making them adoptable.
I mean, it's not cheap keeping these animals, is it?
no.
It is not. It's about, I think the last time we ran the numbers, it's like $16 to $17 a day.
Wow. So by 5 days, I mean, you're kind of invested in this animal. And so it goes through the medical process and now becomes your property, the shelter's property anyway, which, and then it's given a new name and put up for adoption.
Yep.
And it's the same as surrenders, except you don't have to do as much, or?
So surrenders we keep for 3 days. We give people 3 days to kind of change their mind
Wow.
or come up with another option. And within those 3 days, if they come back, they just take the dog back. No issue.
Yeah.
Or the cat or whatever they surrendered animal. And then after that 3 days, they get put through the same medical process and made adoptable.
Is there like a cleaning or a grooming period that you kind of make the dog look prettier before you put it on? Because I've seen some strays that look a little rough.
So it depends, because if it is a dog or cat that has longer hair and they're matted, obviously we have to take care of them.
Yeah.
If it's a shorter hair, we'll brush them, trim their nails. They do get their nails trimmed during the medical examination. But, pretty minimal for short hair, but we do try, if they are matted and pelted and everything, we usually groom them ourselves. But if we can't, or my grooming isn't the greatest, then we'll take them in to a groomer as well.
Now, what's the worst you've ever seen when it comes to matting?
Yeah, recently we had a dog, and it was definitely a case of neglect. She came in as a stray, but we did find her owner, unfortunately, and they just weren't caring for her.
Yeah.
I worked at a grooming salon for 3 years before moving out here, and it was the worst case of matting I've ever seen. And I did do the shave on her, which it wasn't great, but it did make her feel better. She was a completely new dog after I got that off of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of sheep who have gotten lost and found.
She looked like
later
that.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Little black sheep.
a lot of people don't understand, some of that matting gets so bad they can't even see.
Yeah.
They can't see.
It tugs on their skin.
It tugs on their
causes
skin.
infections.
Yeah, and it
It's
also
bad.
restricts circulation.
Yeah.
It's not good. Matting it can be really detrimental.
After we get everyone cleaned up, after we get everybody presentable and pass through medical, on average, how long are you having dogs and cats stay at the shelter before someone usually comes in and gives them a new home?
Cats, it's definitely longer than dogs. Dogs, I would say a typical stay, maybe a few months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
But-
pretty
2
good.
months.
Yeah, but we do have longer residents with animals that, are a little bit tougher.
Harder.
Yeah.
We've got a cat, Natalia, that has been there longer than I have.
Oh,
She's
how long is that?
5 years.
Oh, wow, she's kind of a resident.
She's
Yeah.
a resident. We've
She's
got a couple of
sassy, but
cats.
she's wonderful.
Oh, she's so sweet. I actually have a video of her on my Facebook, but she's got these beautiful ocean blue eyes, and she's white with tabby spots. She's just wonderful, and she loves to give kisses.
Wow, and no one's adopted her
No one's
yet.
adopted her. Yeah.
Wow, I wonder why. It's just one of those things, I never really picked up why some animals go right out the door.
Yeah.
and other ones tend to
Just
stick
stay.
around. Even
I don't know.
Even the really good ones.
Yeah.
Now, Emmy, I know you were working with a dog for a number of months, trying to kind of climatize them and get them used to people being around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a different situation.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yes.
Not wanting to turn a dog out
Yes,
into the
that's
public
not
if
ready.
you don't feel that they're safe.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Real quick, how long's Rose been with you guys?
About 4 months or so.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
3 or 4 months.
3 or 4
I
months.
don't know exactly, but
If you're listening out there, 3 or 4 months, she's a very sweet dog. I've seen her do nothing but take treats and give kisses. She looks like she could use a new home. When we come back, we're going to continue with the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE at 103.9 FM. Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 and a $1,000 marketing match donation from Sheridan Media as part of their community commitment. School District number 3 is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust. Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
And workers. Open positions include general labor, machine operators, craters, and more. VacuTech is offering weekend premium pay and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. This is the perfect opportunity to make extra money or even a great living while working weekends and enjoying the week off. For more information and to apply, visit VacuTech's open opportunities page on their website at vacutechllc.com.
You deserve to hear better and live well. Hi, this is Elizabeth.
And JT Kraft from EBIA Hearing and Sound. With recent developments in over-the-counter hearing aids, we want to make sure you are cared for and have the information you deserve.
FDA-approved OTCs are designed for adults with mild to moderate hearing loss. But how do you know if you fall into this range? We understand and can accommodate your desire to purchase a simple solution, but want you to know how important provider care is for your outcome. Where will you go if something fails? Can you adjust your devices if your hearing loss changes?
We have amplified hearing protection and basic OTC devices starting at $399. But we also fit prescriptive hearing aids tailored to your loss, which may ultimately serve you best, and that is our goal. Funding and financing options are available.
Visit us at 1273 Coffeen Avenue, online at ebiahearing.com, check our ad in the Country Bounty, or call 674-8920. That's 674-8920.
Buy 2 weeks, get 2 weeks free. Our classified ad special going on right now at the Country Bounty. When you buy 2 weeks, you get 2 weeks free. The Country Bounty is your source for classified ads in Sheridan and Johnson counties with a circulation of over 17,000 households. So don't wait. Buy 2 weeks and get 2 weeks free. The Country Bounty classified deadline is every Thursday at 1 p.m. Call 674-4312 or email countrybounty@sheridanmedia.com.
Lean back and save big this winter while you create the stressless recliner of your dreams. Your recliner will be custom made for you, and you'll save $300. Select your recliner design and size, select your leather, then choose the base and the finish. Look for the stressless sale flyer in this week's Country Bounty and see all the different ways you can save and enjoy this incredible Norwegian furniture. Shop with us at Carroll's Furniture, locally owned and operated in historic downtown Sheridan. Financing available with approved credit at carrollsfurniture.com.
Welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. With me this morning is Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter Operations Manager Cindy Pop and Dog Lead Emmy Whiting. And they have brought along Rose, who is available for adoption. She's about 9 years old. She's been over there for about 4 months. And I can testify, folks, she is a friendly dog.
Yes, she is.
She's been giving kisses all morning, and the one thing she seems to like is treats and pets, just like a good dog does. Now, in 2022, the dog and cat shelter received 783 animals, either surrendered to them or brought in as strays. Some of these dogs have become service dogs through a program called Stray to Service, operated by Shan Foster. Others have been put through a program called Bite Club to train them to be more family-friendly animals. These are just examples of the work being done over at the shelter, and as you can imagine, it is not a cheap place to operate. They also operate a spay-to-neuter certificate program, thanks to the Arnie Foundation, who refunded that just this year. Now, Cindy, where does the shelter get the majority of its funds to operate?
I'm not involved too much in that kind of stuff, but I know, AJ, our director, works hard to get us grants. We get grants for a couple of our programs and stuff like that. And then, like you mentioned, the Arnieri Foundation. We also have the Irwin Wilson, what are they? The Irwin Wilson Family Foundation.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's their exact name. I'm kind of guessing here. But, there's a lot of great families out there like them that donate to us. And then, people in the public just donating out in the community. That's always helpful. We get donations we send out our fall newsletter. We'll be sending out a spring newsletter. And we get donations from that. Really we have a great community here.
Yeah. People really
helps us
stepping
out
up
a
to
lot.
take care of their
Yeah.
own shelter, really. I mean,
Yes.
Sheridan, this is your shelter, and it operates at the level that you decide it operates at. Now, there are some things going on that help raise some funds. Coming up, we have the Critter Carnival. This is happening in February. Mrs. Whiting,
Yes.
can you tell us about this one?
So we're calling it the Valentine's Day Critter Carnival. It'll be held at Landon's Greenhouse on February 11th. That's a Saturday. And so we wanted to do it before Valentine's Day. Something real fun for the kids and everything. It'll take place 1 to 4. It's going to have games where you can win prizes. We're also going to have a puppy doggy kissing booth where we're gonna sell doggy kisses.
Nice.
We're hoping to have a cat cuddle area. It just depends on what kind of volunteer and staffing we can get that day. But hopefully we can bring at least one cat to kind of snuggle
Shibu.
with. Yeah, Shibu.
Shibu would be the
Shibu's
best
the
cat.
best. He has been on Public Pulse before. So.
Oh, yeah, he
Yes.
was in here. Yeah.
He's a very good cat. And then we're also going to just be having some, lemonade, coffee, potentially like some cookies or something like that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're really excited. And Landon's has been great to let us have that space there.
That is fantastic of them. The Critter Carnival. Is this the first inaugural Critter Carnival?
Yes, it is.
Emmy came up with it all on her own.
I will say Marian Eccles had
Yes.
really contributed. It's kind of become me and her's baby.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. Now, there's also something happening out at the Firewater Bar and Grill. What is this, Cindy?
So they call it the Tito's Love Menu. They have special cocktails, and they're called something. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I want to say I can't remember exactly how much is coming to us, but
A percentage.
it's not a percentage. Actually, I found out. I said a percentage last time, but it's a set amount is coming to us.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So no matter how many
How many
are
drink-
purchased,
yeah.
they're going to donate some money
Yep,
due
yep.
to that. Well, that's pretty cool. Now,
Yeah.
what's going on at the Gastropub?
So this I know a little more about. They are raffling off tickets for their 2 private rooms for the Super Bowl. So
Oh, wow.
you can have your Super Bowl party in one of their private rooms. They have 2. So I think first place gets their pick of which room. And I haven't been in the rooms myself, but I'm assuming, one is maybe bigger than the other or whatever, since someone gets a pick. And then second place gets the room that's left, and then third place gets a bucket of beer.
Oh, wow.
So those raffle tickets are $20 each, and then 20% of the ticket sales go to us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So not only are you helping to raise funds for the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter, But you could also have a private Super Bowl party, and I think just about anybody can appreciate that. Now, where do I go to learn a little bit more about the Sheridan Dog and Cat Shelter?
So we have a website. It's dogandcatshelter.org, and it has pretty much everything on there. It has our previous newsletter, our current newsletter, how to surrender, how to adopt. It has
how to donate. It has our foster application, our volunteer application. It's pretty much got everything you would need on there. It also has our number and our hours and all that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, Cindy, Emmy, Rose, thank you for coming in this morning. It's always a pleasure to see you, and it's always a pleasure having little furry friends stop in and visit us. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to speak with Whitney Benefits Board President Roy Garberwith and meet with the new Executive Director of Whitney Benefits, Aaron Kilbride. This is Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM, Sheridan.
First Federal Bank and Trust would like to recognize this week's winner of $1,000 and a $1,000 marketing match donation from Sheridan Media as part of their community commitment. School District number 3 is receiving these funds per random drawing.
Could your organization be next? We're giving $1,000 to a qualified nonprofit organization every week. Visit our website, efirstfederal.bank, for details. First Federal Bank and Trust. Sheridan Media present Community Commitment. Member FDIC.
The owners and staff at Kane's Funeral Home would like to thank the families of Sheridan and Johnson counties for choosing Kane's and allowing them to serve you during these hard times. Kane Funeral Home makes it their mission to take the stress and uncertainty out of ceremonial services. They own and operate the only crematory in Sheridan County, so your loved one is always in their care. Kane's Funeral Home. Call 673-5837 or visit them online at canefuneral.com.
Great news if you've been waiting for a new vehicle from Hammer Chevrolet, Troy Baker.
Bob, beside the 16 new Silverados that are coming in, we have a 2022 Chevy Colorado for $42,130, a new 2023 Chevy Tahoe for $65,550, or a new Chevy Malibu LT for $29,570. So if you've been waiting for new vehicles, don't wait. Come see us.
16 new Silverados, a new Tahoe, a new Colorado, a new Malibu. 2023 is off to an awesome start at Hammer Chevrolet, 107 East Alger, online at hammerchevy.com.
Hey there, listeners. I'm every over-enthusiastic radio announcer ever. And if you think that's enthusiastic, then you need to check out Best Real Estate because we are enthusiastic about selling properties. So if you or someone you know is looking to buy or sell, we are your go-to real estate team. Call us at 675-BEST or visit our website at bestwy.net for all of your real estate needs.
Brokered by EXP.
Wyoming Corporate Office is the trusted business choice behind thousands of businesses. Whether it's business formation, payroll, corporate paperwork, mail scanning service, or small business phone service, Wyoming Corporate Office powers over 100,000 businesses worldwide and locally. This makes Wyoming Corporate Office the state's largest business-to-business service provider, located right here in Sheridan, Wyoming. If you're drowning in corporate paperwork looking for someone with an unmatched experience that cares and wants to be your partner in making your business successful, trust that Wyoming Corporate Office can help you focus on what makes your business tick. Learn more today by visiting wyomingcorporateoffice.com.
This is Dan Marshall with Captain Clean. While dirty ductwork and carpet doesn't necessarily mean unhealthy air in your home, school, or workplace, they may be contributing to larger health issues or harboring contaminants that could cause serious problems for people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or environmental allergies. Call Captain Clean today for your free HVAC and free carpet cleaning estimate. It's 100% free. Captain Clean, 672-0726. Affordable choices for healthy living.
Good morning and welcome back to Public Pulse, brought to you by our friends out there at First Federal Bank and Trust. I'm Floyd Whiting. He left very little personal history, but the legacy of Edward A. Whitney can be seen here in Sheridan and in the lives of the many students his estate has benefited. For the second part of our show this morning, I am joined by Whitney Benefits Board President Roy Garberwith and the new Executive Director of Whitney Benefits, Aaron Kilbride. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you.
Good morning.
Thanks for inviting us to come on.
Oh, it's always great having Whitney on here. Every time I have someone from Whitney Benefits, I end up just absolutely adoring the benefits itself, what you guys do. And I mean, even out there at I believe it's called the Commons, the park that's out there during the spring and the summer, my wife and I go out there and share our lunch together in that park because it's just absolutely beautiful.
Well, thank you.
And it really is a jewel in the crown of the benefits. Now, but finding a new executive director for such a legacy, this has got to be something that's pretty difficult. Roy, can you walk us through that process?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was difficult. And of course, organization our size, we had a good staff, a great executive director. And, you always look down the road and you know that someday you're going to have a personnel change. And we thought this one was probably 4 or 5 years away. But unfortunately, Patrick had some medical issues and had to resign. So all of a sudden, we're without an executive director. So we had done some work on succession planning. So we went in and started to update the job description. And one of the things we considered doing was hiring an interim. And our staff came to us and said, you know what, for the next 3 months to the end of the year, we can operate the daily business of Whitney Benefits without an interim. We need a little help from the board members, but we can do that. And then, of course, we put our major projects that the executive director would have done kind of on hold. The staff came through and did a great job. Board members stepped up. And so with that out of the road, then we said, okay, we need to find somebody who can help us find a new executive director. And so we started looking around, and then we came back to one of those things that's so nice in Sheridan, Wyoming. We had somebody locally, and that was Peak Consultants and Laura Lehan. And so I contacted Laura, and she said, well, your timing's great. They had just finished up an executive search and had time. So they took the information we had, and we updated and redid our job criteria and what the position entailed. And they set out on what we called a regional search for an executive director. We didn't go nationwide. We kind of stuck with the Rocky Mountain area. And ended up being, we had 30 applicants came back from, and part of them were from all parts of the United States. And so then Peak took that group and took it down to 6 individuals who they thought the board should interview. And so the board had a committee put together, and together with Peak, we went through and took the 6 down to 2. And then in early December, we had the final interviews, and Erin was chosen to be the new executive director for Whitney Benefits. And so I think it was exactly 3 weeks today, on January 3rd, she became our executive director. And we're very glad to have her on board. And I think it's been a busy 3 weeks, but it was a great opportunity because Erin had some time in December. So she really did start gearing up, meeting individuals, board members, and people. And so she hit the ground running pretty darn good on January 3rd. So, and the staff and the board and everybody else is glad to have her.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Erin, wow.
Yeah.
Hit the ground running. What a big organization with such a legacy within the city and the entire region of Sheridan. How did you grow up and where?
Yeah, I'm a Wyomingite, so I grew up in Casper, Wyoming. And I played basketball in college. So it did take me, my education did take me to Idaho for a couple of years, but did end up getting my bachelor's degree at the University of Wyoming. So proud to be a cowgirl, cowboy. And, have always just stayed in Wyoming. Met my husband when I was coaching basketball, coached basketball at Central in high school in Cheyenne while working at the hospital there. And, just fell in love with the Sheridan area, probably like Mr. Whitney did and everybody else, right? And I ended up moving here in 2006 and raising our boys out in the Tongue River Valley. And community means a lot to me. And so, we've all read, most of us have read Sam Western's books on Mr. Whitney and the history. And, it's funny as you read through it, a lot of his thoughts and how he led. He was a quiet leader. He didn't love to be in front of the camera. So it's funny because I'm like, would he ever have given an interview with Public Pulse. But a lot of he intended to make his community better. And really, that's how I grew up. My mom and dad were volunteers in the community and just always wanting to make their community better. And so that's why when the job first came open, I really looked at it and to see, I always try to make sure I align my values and my principles with what I'm going to go do next. And they really aligned and felt like I had the experience and the leadership abilities to lead this great legacy in this great organization.
Now, what was it in your life that really guided you to leadership roles to begin with?
Yeah.
Was it something that happened in college? Have you been a strong leader since you were in the playground?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do love to go out and have fun playing. I worked with the Tongue Valley Community Center for several years, and I love to go play with kids and just lead them. I don't sit around and watch them play. I interact with them and have a lot of fun. So I really attribute it to my basketball career as a point guard. So I had to be the leader on the court. And I had some great coaches who coached that leadership style and helped me see what leadership truly was. And so I really attributed to that, and also those mentors along the way. Two of them were coaches that I could not only see and watch them lead, but they just helped me understand what leadership truly is. And then, about 5 years ago, I decided to go back and get my master's degree. And I got my master's degree in administration, but with an emphasis in organizational leadership.
So you kind of come in with this leadership experience because, as a point guard within sports, that's something that I see a lot. I see a lot of leaders born and developed in sports and the military, of course.
Sure.
Strong leadership morals within that. Now, what were you doing just before you earned this position? Was that up at the
community center?
Community
Yep.
center
I actually, about a year ago, about 8 or 9 months ago, decided it was time for a career change. Didn't really know what that entailed. Obviously knew I wanted to be a leader at some point or in some organization here in Sheridan County, but just knew it was time for new leadership change for Tongue River Valley, right? I think change is always good. I think it's easy as a human species, we can get stuck in a rut, and some people can find their way out, which is awesome. And I just figured it was time for me to make a change. So I actually spent the last 4 months, about September through December, just taking some time off, taking some time for me and my family, and doing some other things that I really haven't got a chance to do in the last 16 years.
Do you think it's that sense of competition and that sense of self-challenge that really drove you out to expand a little bit beyond or find a new challenge you should go forward? Because one thing that I liked that you just said was it was time for a leadership change at the community center.
Right.
Where you saw, okay, my leadership here has reached the point where I think we're good with each other and I can head onwards. Do you think it's that sense of athleticism within you that really drives you to find that next challenge, find that next game? Where's the next two?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on it. I'm all about not being complacent, and I always wanted to be the best, do the best. And I always challenge my staff to do that as well. I'm not okay with just being okay.
Yeah.
So let's, find the fire in you. And I guess I do that pretty easily. I find the fire and I go get it. And so challenge is great. I love challenges. Some people are afraid of new challenges. I embrace new challenges. It's personal growth, right?
Right.
Personal growth, professional growth. And I think that's one thing I want to teach my children, is that same thing, is how to not be complacent and not just be okay with being okay, and going out and fighting and getting what you want to do in life. We're the drivers, right, of our own selves. So let's drive it well.
Now, what would you say your leadership style was like? Are you more of a hands-off, or are you more of a let's get into the mix of this, teach me how to do it, know his job below, his job above,
Yes.
that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm a servant leader, transformational leader. But I told my staff, I met with my staff, before I came on, so I could get acquainted with them and they could kind of know who was coming in. Didn't want them to have any, fear at all. That I'm real personable, but I would never ask my staff to do anything I wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you gain respect, obviously. And it showed in the Tongue River Valley and my past career and the respect, obviously, that my staff had for what we did. So yeah, I'm lead me, guide me to it, and I'll do it.
All the leaders I really respected in the military started out as a private. They mopped every floor I mopped.
Right, exactly, yes.
And they knew how to get it done. Now, so was it the challenge that really inspired you when you heard about this position that was open? Was it that challenge that inspired you to go ahead and apply for the position in the first place? Walk me through the process that you maybe had a conversation with your husband, with your family. I'm going to accept this big endeavor.
Yeah, challenge obviously is it. I also loved the mission, and Roy can expand on that here in just a second. But I really am passionate about education, and whether it's a post-secondary, going on to be a doctor, or maybe it's vocational and becoming a welder. I want to see kids on a path to make themselves better, and give back to their community. So I love the mission of Whitney. I think that's a big part that drove me to that. I could have a good relationship with the Sheridan College, and I can work, side by side with Sheridan College to help build Sheridan College and do the great things that they're doing. So the challenge, yes, but the mission, and again, just the values, I think of what, Patrick Henderson, the previous executive director, built with the organization and the board, and knew I could come alongside of them with those same values and principles and take on the challenge to drive us forward and help, build more success.
He's a great guy. He was an inspiring leader.
Yes.
I spoke with him on a couple of occasions, and it's great to know that, not only is Whitney Benefit's mission so critical and the values out there held so high, but the leaders that they've picked, they reflect that.
Yes.
And I think that means a lot. When you look at the head of the organization, you're really looking at the organization itself, a representative in the highest regard.
And the board does a great job with that as well. They all are passionate about the mission and driving, the organization forward because they care, because they're leaders. And so.
I think Edward Whitney would be proud.
Yeah, I do too.
Now, so you've been out there, 3 weeks?
Yep.
And how's it been so far? Just getting your feet wet, kind of learning the lay of the land, as Bob Grammons likes to say, learning where the bathrooms are at, right?
Right. Yes. Got to learn all that. Those are important things to know. But yeah, just learning, taking a lot in. Not putting a lot out yet, just taking it all in. Again, as you grow in your leadership and your wisdom, you understand that listening is really important to being a good leader. And so just listening a lot. The gals at the office are keeping me in check and making sure I know what I need to know, and I appreciate that. And so, there's a few things that the board has given me for some quick steps out of the gate here that I've been working on. I think my first big step is just building that relationship with Sheridan College and really seeing what's going on there and really seeing how Whitney and the college can walk together to help our community be successful.
What do you see as the biggest challenge facing Whitney Benefits in the near future as we go forward?
Well, we always got to keep our mind or our eye out on the market, and what that's doing. So we have to always protect what Mr. Whitney gave us, and that's our first and foremost. And so just understanding there's lots of needs out there, right? But really what fits with the mission, what fits with the will. And so those are always, I think, challenges that come along when you have an organization that is so successful, has been so successful, and that can make and can build change. You have those challenges that come along that everybody kind of wants a piece of it. So the challenge of just making sure we're doing the right thing. I think also how we can help move Sheridan College forward in how education is changing, how higher education is changing, with the CTE, career and technical ed programs that are coming more on board, and how we can really fit and help them. I think those probably are our two biggest challenges. I'm probably a little new yet to really understand what the big challenge might be.
But that's what you see on the horizon.
That's what I see. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I understand, you haven't been in there long. You haven't really looked at all the books just yet. But what do you see straight out of the gate? And I think that's a fantastic answer that you gave. I don't have a lot of time left. But I did want to cover real quick what the mission is. We've spoke about this quite a bit. I only have probably a minute and a half.
Well, of course, Whitney's mission hasn't changed. The foundation will approach 100 years in a few more years. And the basic mission of the foundation initially started with an interest-free loan program, which Mr. Whitney recognized clear back in his time that it took both advanced degrees and vocational degrees to make society function and function well, and we still support that. And then, of course, he said when his foundation, the corpus of it grew to a certain amount, he wanted to support a agricultural college in Sheridan County, and he did not want it to be part of the University of Wyoming. And then he also said that we could should think of a building, and instead of a building right now, it's the park, something grand for the community that the community could enjoy. And so those are the three main parts, which is kind of helpful because you can't vary too much from that. But in the educational mission of the college, there's a lot of things we do and continue to work. How do we work through the college with the primary, secondary schools? How do they feed kids into the college? How do we help the community? What does the community need? What does our light manufacturing industry need? What can the college do to help them out so that they're more successful and so that we have jobs for our young people? You've heard about welding and machine tool and things. All those jobs, all those careers provide good jobs for local students. And so one of the big goal in that is what can we do to make sure the kids who grow up here, attend school here, can have a viable job that makes them a decent living and hopefully keep them in Wyoming.
Whitney benefits, benefiting everyone. I think that's fantastic, and it's a fantastic way to look at things. Even though you are an important cog, we are just one cog. And it's when we work together that we all go forward.
Indeed, right. Yes, indeed.
Roy, Aaron, thank you so much for coming in today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks, Roy.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
You've been listening to Public Pulse on 930 KROE and 103.9 FM. Sheridan.